When I started my practice, the Active Healing Center, over 2 decades ago, I wanted to help people with these more degenerative problems of the spine, disc bulges, disc herniations, really ugly words like spondylolisthesis, stenosis. Again, the more degenerative conditions of the spine. And I had a very specific plan at that time. I was a chiropractor, so I had the powerful tool of the spinal adjustment. I had a strong background in exercise sciences. So between the adjustment, specific stretching and strengthening programs, I was confident we were going to help start solving these problems. I spent a lot of time with each and every patient coming into my office with these problems. And what I quickly learned was I was wrong. We were getting some results with our patients, but nowhere near the results that I wanted, and more importantly, than my patients wanted. And this was super distressing for me. So I had to go out and relearn, to truly learn what it takes to rehabilitate these more degenerative conditions of the spine. So additional training, motion study x-rays, not how to take the x-ray, we knew how to do that, but how to really analyze your motion study x-ray to get a clear understanding of the mechanical breakdown and dysfunction going on in your spine so that we can get a deeper understanding of the mechanical picture of your spine. So when I start talking about building a spine that lasts, I want you to have a better understanding of what I mean by that, because it goes beyond a stretching and strengthening program. It goes beyond a spinal adjustment. It goes beyond your pain score and a pain chart. It goes to the quality of your life. I'm Dr. Tom. I'm a spine rehab specialist. I've been working with disc patients for over 28 years. I want to go over 3 different patients that we worked with in the past so you get a better understanding of what I mean by building a spine that lasts. First person that we sat down with, it stands out to me like it was yesterday. When she came into my office, she could barely walk 10 feet without being in severe pain. We sat down with her. She had chronic low back pain, radiating pain down the legs. Again, she couldn't walk 10 feet, point A to point B, without being in severe pain. And when we sat down, I asked her a very specific question, a super simple question. What's the problem we can help you solve? And she had a very specific answer, no hesitation. Again, I remember it was like it was yesterday. And she said, I want to be able to dance with my son at his wedding. That was it. Her son was getting married in 6 months, and that's all she wanted to do. Didn't matter that she was in pain. She just wanted to be able to dance with her son at her wedding, because at that moment in time, right there, when we were sitting down, she couldn't do that. So we sat down, we mapped out a program for her, which was our 3-point protocol: functional movement, repetitive decompression, structural restoration. She followed that program for 6 months up until the day her son got married. And what she got in return was exactly that. She was able to dance with her son at her wedding. More than that, she danced all night long, pain-free, happy, loving life, loving the moment. And even better for me, she woke up the next day, no problems, pain-free, no residual effects. And that's what I mean by building a spine that lasts. The second patient we sat down with, again, it stands out to me like it was yesterday. And nothing more heartbreaking than sitting down with a first-time mom who wasn't able to pick up her child, because her newborn baby, because she was in so much pain. Severe leg pain, pain radiating down her legs into her spine. Mid-pregnancy, she developed sciatica, a low back disc problem, and she was unable to hold or pick up her child because she was in fear that she was going to collapse and hurt her baby. Nothing more heartbreaking than that. Surgery was recommended for her, but that wasn't on the table for her, because for her, surgery meant more time or less time being able to spend with her daughter, her newborn baby. So that wasn't an option for her. We sat down, we mapped out our 3-point program for her: functional movement, repetitive decompression, structural restoration. She followed that program for 3 months. And by the end of that 3 months, she was not only picking up her baby, but just running around, being the mom she wants to be. That's the real cost of what it takes to get this right. And that's the real reward of what it takes to get this right. In the pinned comment below, there's a link for a disc clarity consultation. And that's exactly what it is. It gives you some clarity to what's going on in your spine, the true mechanical picture of your spine, what the real options are to getting those problems solved for you. So hit that link if you're ready, and I'll see you there. Get that problem solved. The third patient we sat down with, this is a person, if you've been watching our videos, you probably heard me talk about this before, but I wanted to go a little deeper into her story. She was a very highly energized lady. Her persona, her identification was on the go. That was her deal. She was always on the go. with charities that she worked with, being a field hockey referee. She was always on the move. And I've known this patient. I ran into her at that time. I ran into her down the street from my office. And I've known this person for almost my entire life. She was a teacher of mine when I was in 7th grade in middle school. And I ran into her down the street at my office. And she proceeded to tell me that she was dealing with chronic problems, chronic pain into her hip, her groin, even into her abdomen. And nobody was figuring out exactly what was going on with her. And she was 1 week away from going into surgery just in the hopes to figuring out what was causing her problem, let alone solving the problem. They were just trying to figure out what was causing the problem. She came into my office the very next day and we ran her through our workup, which included motion study x-rays. And in those images that we saw that we took of her, we identified that her lower spine had lost function. At L3, L4, L5 had complete loss of function. And that was causing a neurological referred pain into her hip, groin, even into her abdomen. We put her on our 3-point protocol. Again, functional movement, repetitive decompression, structural restoration. And she followed that program for 3 solid months to the T for 3 months. And over 10 years later, she's still running around officiating field hockey, that active life. So that's what I mean by building a spine that lasts. It goes beyond a pain score. It goes beyond what we see on imaging, but it's getting that quality of life back. There's 3 different people, 3 different situations, yet their outcomes all share the same foundation. One was about asking the right questions. Motion study x-rays, get the true mechanical picture of what's causing problems in the spine. And 2 was getting the right answers, putting the right system into place to start solving problems. Functional movement, optimize function throughout the spine. Repetitive decompression, give the spine the nutrients it needs to properly heal. And structural restoration, build long-term results. We don't want band-aids. That doesn't help anybody. We want long-term solutions. Building a spine that lasts is more than just a pain score. It's about getting those moments back in your life that chronic pain has been stealing from you. If what I said today makes sense, then take the next step and hit the link for the Disc Clarity consultation. 30 minutes on Zoom, you and I going through your imaging. If you need a script, I'll get you a script. But let's take 30 minutes to see what's going on in your spine and start mapping out a proper plan to start solving problems for yourself. And if that doesn't make sense to you at the moment, then hit the link for the Disc Rejuvenation checklist. Take a couple minutes to read through the 7 signs that'll tell you if surgery is even an option for your situation. And if you want a little more clarity on what's going on in the spine and what's causing your disc to break down, watch this video down here. I don't do this just because I enjoy talking about spine mechanics and spine dysfunction. I do, but it's not the only reason I do this. I truly love helping and watching people get their lives back. Everything I do comes down to 3 things. 1 problem, spine dysfunction. 1 purpose, restore function. 1 promise, build a spine that lasts. Hit subscribe, drop a comment, and tell me what's chronic pain been stealing from your life? How's it screwing up the quality of your life? I'll see you next week.